So, I was in Barnes & Noble today, and this little old lady comes up. Like, I was reading the Princeton Review, which is a big, thick book. It had a list of, like, all the colleges on it. So I was reading, it's this long list, and this lady comes up from behind me and, like, pokes me on the shoulder, and she's, like, a little Russian lady. She's, like, maybe 70. She's like, are you trying to memorize this? And we just kind of, like, make conversation. And she's, like, really, really can't speak English at all, like, really broken English. So she, like, takes out this card that she was holding, and she was, like, trying to memorize it or something. And she, like, reads it to me. It says, 3 fair maidens sat and spun by candlelight late one night. And then she, like, repeats it in Russian. She's like, 3 devic pod oknom prejli posno something chevron. Like, it was, like, the weirdest
thing. Do you think
ever.
Emma could read that? Probably, right?
Yeah. But it's, like, the weirdest story. So it says, 3 fair maidens sat and spun by candlelight late one night. 3 maidens by the window spun late in the nice evening. Then it has a translation in Russian on this side. Then on the back it said, were our Tsar to marry me, said the eldest of the 3, I would cook and I would cook and I would bake, oh, what royal feast I'd make. And then, were our Tsar to marry me, said the second of the 3, I would weave a cloth of gold, fair and wondrous to behold. Were our Tsar to marry me, said the youngest of the 3, I would bear to him an heir, handsome, brave, beyond compare. So it was, like, really weird, and then she ended up giving me these cards, which I don't know why. It was so strange. She gave me 2 of them, too, which have the same exact things on them. There's, like, weird stuff highlighted on it. It was probably the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my whole life. Here, like, do, like, a zoom in on those.
I did. I got them already. We were holding them in your hand. I got them.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
They're so weird. So I looked it up when I got home, and there's, like, this whole story. I'm going to read you the English version first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm reading you the summary of it.
Are you going to do it with a Russian accent?
No, I'm going to read you the actual story in Russian.
With a Russian? Go ahead.
This is the plot summary. It's the weirdest story.
Go ahead.
So the story is of 3 sisters, of whom the youngest is chosen by Tsar Sultan, and it has Sultan written on the card.
Oh, I saw that.
To be his wife, while he makes the other 2 his royal cook and royal weaver, which are the first 2. They are jealous, of course, when the Tsar goes off to war, and in his absence, the Tsaritsa, which is his wife, the youngest, gives birth to a son, Prince Gvidon. They arrange to have her and her child sealed up in a barrel and thrown into the sea, the sisters and the mother, because they're jealous of her. The sea itself takes pity on them, and they are cast up on the shore on a remote island, Buyan. The son, having quickly grown while in the barrel, goes hunting. He ends up saving an enchanted swan from a kite. The swan creates a city for Prince Gvidon to rule, but he is homesick, and the swan turns him into a mosquito. In this guise, he visits Tsar Sultan's court, where he stings his aunt in the eye and escapes. Back in his distant realm, the swan gives Gvidon a magical squirrel, but he continues to pine for home, so the swan transforms him into a fly. In this guise, Prince Gvidon visits Sultan's court again and stings his older aunt in the eye. The 3rd time, the prince is transformed into a bumblebee and stings the nose of his grandmother. In the end, he expresses a desire for a bride instead of his old home, at which point the swan is revealed to be a beautiful princess whom he marries. He is visited by the Tsar, who is overjoyed to find his wife and newly married son. Is that not the weirdest story you've ever heard?
Bizarre.
I know.
What's the date of the story? What is the date of that mythical story? 1600s? 1400s?
Like 1900s.
No.
Serious.
That can't be a modern story. There's no possible way. That's an old story.
1831 poem by Pushkin, which is his name's written on here too. Written after the Russian fairy tale, edited by Vladimir Dahl. How weird. That's so strange. I wonder if this is, like, famous. Anyway. This is the story now in Russian. This is, like, the actual poem, not just a summary.
Okay.
Gotta get into character.
Go into Sophie mode.
Tak.
You could say her name to channel her.
Teach advanced pre-calculus honors. 3 fair maidens late one night sat and spun by candlelight. Were our Tsar to marry me, said the eldest of the 3, I would cook and I would bake. Oh, what royal feast I'd make. Said the second of the three, were our Tsar to marry me, I would weave a cloth of gold, fair and wondrous to behold. But the youngest of the three murmured, if he married me, I would give our Tsar an heir, handsome, brave, beyond compare. At these words the chamber door gently creaked and low before. These three maidens very eyes stood their Tsar to their surprise. And that's the verse.
And he chose the heir.
But it's stinking long.
That's the one verse that she gave you, but the whole poem is very long.
There's 6 of those. Do you want me to read the rest?
What happens to the... What happens? How does he select that one? Why does he select that one?
Then the Tsar strode forth, and they palace-wards all made their way. There he lost no time nor tarried. That same evening he was married. Tsar Sultan and his young bride at the feast sat side by side. Then the guests with solemn air led the newly wedded pair to their ivory couch, snow white, where they left them for the night. Bitterly the weaver sighed, and the cook in passion cried, full of jealousy and hate of their sister's happy fate. But by love and duty fired, she conceived ere night expired. In her royal husband's arms, these were days of war's alarm. Ere he rode forth for the strife, Tsar Sultan embraced his wife, bidding her to take good care of herself in coming heir. While he battled on the field, forcing countless foes to yield, God gave unto her an heir, lusty, large of limb and fair. Like a mother eagle she guarded him most jealously, sent the news of God's glad gift to the Tsar by rider swift. But the royal cook and weaver and their mother, sly deceiver, sought to ruin her, so they had him kidnapped on the way, sent another in his stead. Word for word his message read, your sire last night was delivered of a fright. Neither son nor daughter, nor have we seen its like before.
Mm.
He looked round him, and behold, saw an evil plight. Circling over it a kite, talons spread and blood-stained beak poised, prepared her death to wreak, while the helpless bird was splashing with her wings and the waters lashing. But his shaft with baneful note struck the kite full in the throat. Bleeding in the sea it fell, screeching like a soul in hell. He with lowered bow looked on, as with beaks and wings the swan, dealing ruthless blow on blow of the cruel kite her foe. What's a kite?
I don't know. Thought it was something you fly in the sky.
Yeah, but it's some kind of animal.
How's it spelled?
Like a kite.
It's a bird. It's got to be the bird that just swooped down to steal the babies. Isn't that what happened?
No.
That's what it sounds like.
No. The mother and the sisters threw her in a barrel, and they were spit up onto an island.
But they're telling him that your baby was born, but a bird swooped down and picked him up. They sent a different messenger. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, they made up a story.
They made up the story. A kite must be a bird.
But right now they're on an island.
Go ahead.
Sped its death till finally lifeless it sank in the sea. Here greeted with ardor sore, that he'd thought of this before, that 'twas high time he was married. Too long single had he tarried, that for this princess so fair he would any perils dare. Sacrifice his very soul, barefoot walk right to the pole. Sighing thoughtfully the swan murmured, why so far, Guidon? Know your future bride is here, I am that princess, my dear. Then she spread her wings to soar, or over the waves towards the shore. There amid a clump of trees folded them with graceful ease, shook herself, and then and there turned into a maiden fair. In her braids a crescent beamed, on her brow a bright star gleamed. She was sweet in form and face, full of majesty and grace. When she spoke, her sweet voice seemed like the flow of tinkling streams. From his casement silently Prince Guidon gazed at the sea. Scarce a ripple stirred in the deep, as it sighed as though in sleep. On the far horizon blue, sails came one by one in view. Tsar Sultan's fleet, at long last, over the seas was sailing fast. At this sight, Guidon rushed out, uttering a mighty shout, Mother dear, come hither do. You, my fair princess, come too. Only look out yonder there. Sails my father, I declare. That's it.
Odd.
How weird. What the heck?